it's Jennifer here from Belladonna's Botanicals, and today we are talking about um, what does worshiping demons mean in the practice of demonolatry. So, without further ado, let's get started on that. Um, I'm working on filling out sort of the series or playlist on topics in demonolatry. So you'll be seeing some new content coming out over, however long, forever maybe. So, anyways, without further ado, so demonolatry is a religion in which demonolators, demonolatresses, worship demons. But what does that mean? Now, if we want to look at this sort of in an etymological sense, is the origin of the word worship originally meant to work with, not, we're not worthy, the sort of prostrating yourself and throwing yourself at the feet, that sort of thing. So thereby, those who practice demonolatry work with the demonic divine. We do not prostrate ourselves, as I mentioned, in that sense in which someone would blindly follow a leader, a deity, or religion, or cult in some cases, or offer worship to the detriment of our own selves. Like in a mindless act of devotion. It's not, I don't like when I work with the demonic divine, I'm not like, oh my God, Lucifer, I'm not worthy. That sort of thing. It's not like that. It's not like, here's the toy at the bottom of the cereal box. Demonolatry and most pagan alternative religions like that are not fear-based cults. There can be factions that are fear-based, and I would say if you are being taught anything that is of and being treated in a way where you are that is what is being espoused, run. Don't walk. Don't wait for it to get better. Run. Red flags, y'all. And I know from personal experience, I am great at spray painting those red flags, green, white, and whatever color, mid-air as they're flying at me. So, demonolatry is a religion of the self, as are a lot of the practices on the left-hand path, especially, a lot of it is, I mean, you do have covens and groups and things like lodges and stuff like that. Not everyone belongs to them. I mean, it is a very solitary practice in a lot of ways, which I particularly like. I just don't really need human drama involved in everything. So as I talked about in our What Are Demons video, which is also in this playlist, the demonic divine can be viewed as divine intelligences. And in a lot of cases, they are just old pre-Christian gods and goddesses that got, guess what? The word demonized by the rise of Christianity. So, it's a lot of what I try to talk about here is to dispel all of the indoctrinated myths and fear-based things about working with the demonic divine. Anything, people, spirits, everything's kind of got multiple layers of duality to its nature. So yes, you can work with demons to curse someone, but that's not the part and parcel of the entirety of why people would work with demons. Or to whatever. I'm not here to destroy the world. Most people working with demons aren't here to destroy the world. If you want to look at the people here who are here to destroy the world, just turn on the TV and watch the news and listen to some politicians and stuff like that. Because mainstream religion is what's destroying the world, because if people can't stop killing each other over who Sky Daddy is better, we're kind of doomed. Moving along from there. I didn't want to get too much into what are demons, since I did make a longer, more in-depth video about that. But the thing here is, when we're talking about worship, is we just have respect great respect for working with the demonic divine. So it's a working partnership and relationship. It's not, you know, it's you're kind of on equal footing, but it's like I'm not going to fall prey to the human ego that says I am far greater than the demonic divine, because I'm not. I'm just human, you know. So what do demonolators do as offerings in their worship of demons? Sorry to disappoint anyone. We aren't really, most of us, anyways, are not doing any type of animal sacrifice. It's not necessary. Um, I personally I don't think it's necessary in this day and age. Whatever. I mean, you do you, boo. But and also sorry to inform, no babies were sacrificed in as offerings for things. So because yeah, sometimes people think that kind of bullshit. Like I literally had someone, it was a friend of some crazy person that my ex-husband knew from college or something, that was, and like once he saw that I was a witch, he would like message me. He's like, you better not, cause harm to my, niece and nephew or my whatever. I'm like, did I say I was going to? I have a niece and two nephews myself, none of which I've ever caused harm to, and I'm actually rather fond of them and would protect them with my own life. So people have a lot of these deranged things that were fed to them over the years and think that that's what we do, because that's what, I mean, if you look at like YouTube and all these, any of the books out there, like that, the fear mongering coming out of the religious right will have you believe that we are, doing, all this stuff. It's the spiritual warfare and things like that. I literally don't care what you believe in. Like it that's you, what you do in the privacy of your own home, and what you know as, whatever the spirit world you live in. That's great. I applaud that. Worship Jesus all you want. Just don't, use it to cause harm to other people, you know? Um, I will always, my new favorite thing to do is to quote the Bible passage, to be like, oh, so I've heard this quote before. Judge not lest ye be judged, and then the full, I think it's from the book of Matthew, not entirely sure. But I'm like, I think this is from the Bible. Have you read it before? That usually shuts them up. So, while I can't speak for everyone on the topic of sacrifices and offerings, in general, demonolators are not advocating, and honestly will more speak against it than not, are not doing any type of animal sacrifice. So now that's not to say that there aren't people who do that, and for whatever reasons. Also have another video on my thoughts on that, but it's just not my cup of tea. But when we're looking at, and I do have videos on offerings too, but like when we're looking at that kind of what we can offer, that like I would prefer to share a meal with the spirits I'm working with. It's, I've done that before. Azazel's particularly fond of like steak and potatoes. I think it was bacon wrapped um, filet mignon medallions, particularly. And apparently has a sweet tooth for powdered mini donuts, preferably cinnamon. But more stuff than that. I think fresh flowers on my altars, like at least like probably like once a week or every other week, depending on how long they last. And I keep acquiring more vases, and now I'm got bowls of dead flowers everywhere. Anywho's, moving on. We do not view the demonic divine as lower beings to be bound, abused, and forced to do the sorcerer's bidding, as done by ceremonial magicians of the old grimoire traditions, or other methodologies in some occult, black magic, Luciferian, Satanism, or left-hand path practices. Like honestly, at this point, like I've said all I could possibly say on that. Like it's those old grimoire traditions are so tied to Christianity and Christian practices, like basically you're kind of performing a rite of exorcism like a priest would be. And you really like if you have to like threaten demons, you shouldn't be working with demons. Like seriously, I don't care how many decades of experience you have and whatever. Like if you are afraid of demons, they're not for you. If you have to bind and abuse demons, it's not for you. If you think you're above demons, check your ego. You're not. Um, the spirit world is greater than the human physical world. Sorry, not sorry. It's any spirit you work with, whether you're talking God forms, whether you're talking the demonic divine, the angelic, ancestors, spirit guides, ascended masters, on down the line through, Phasian and other things and all of that. You know, these spirits are above us. And, and I don't really see it as much in other traditions. It's really the old grimoire traditions in which people are like binding and abusing spirits, and I do not understand it. I mean, like if it works for you, whatever, but like I just think it's a rude, shitty practice, to be honest. I'm not gonna say you're doing it wrong, but you could be doing it better. But anyways, so how do we work with the demonic divine and demonolatry? We work with them as anyone work with any deities, angels, gods, goddesses, in any pantheon. Demonolators are not evil, destructive, or out to destroy the world. Maybe there's some that are. I can't speak for everyone, of course. There's always going to be outliers in any situation. But, the loudest voice in the room doesn't represent every single person in that room. They're just the ones shouting the loudest. So if you want to take that one person shouting the loudest as part and parcel for every single person in that room, it's a little myopic, but, it is what it is. Just putting that into perspective there. I mean, in demonolatry, we work with the demonic divine for self-work, shadow work, personal gnosis, understanding of the universe, connecting with the divine, and then, the usual stuff that people, work in occult practices for, money magic, love magic, healing, protection, defensive stuff. It's really no different than any other practice in that, how we approach to it. We're just working with a different type of spirit. And I know there's not a lot of understanding around working with the demonic divine. So, and that's a lot of in my working with spirits is, some of the things I do for offerings or as part of my relationship agreement with the spirit world. Some of it is what I'm bringing forth on my channel. Some of it's in the products I create. Other stuff is just in how I live my life and becoming a better person, a better version of myself. So, um, you know, and furthermore, and I cannot stress this most, I've had a lot of conversations about this. The demonic do not have any interest in your petty bullshit. And like cursing everyone ever over stupid, dumb shit. They may choose to protect or curse based, partake it based upon, the severity of it. Someone, essays your daughter. Yeah, they may not have any problem pulling out the kind of curses you're throwing at whoever did that to, the child. But someone looked at me the wrong way, so now I'm going to curse them, or I don't like this person, I'm going to curse them, or over like, I'm sorry, but like all of the petty witch war internet drama kind of stuff, I've really yet to see anything kind of come out of that. Of it's basically like, I'm throwing something, you're throwing something, I'm throwing something, you're throwing something, and it's just meeting in the middle and canceling each other out. So it's just kind of a pointless exercise in effort. Um, so yeah, the demonic don't really have any interest in petty bullshit magic. I mean, you might be able to work with other types of spirits for that, but um, yeah, that's the thing, because it's, and I there's also another video about this as well. It's like, will demons always grant every single one of your wishes? No, they won't. And sometimes you're going to think things aren't working because they're going to be teaching you lessons. And this is going to go into my final thought on this is, boy howdy, be prepared to learn a lot of lessons, and to fall on your face occasionally when learning those lessons, but learn them. Otherwise, you will continue to fall on your face. This is most likely why people have bad, claim to have bad experiences. Oh, demons are evil or bad. They probably were trying to get you to see something you didn't want to, or to teach you a lesson you did not want to. You're being obstinate. I've been there myself. It was when I first started working with Lucifer, maybe about within the first 6 months or something. And there was this one time, and it was funny because when I first started working with Lucifer, sometimes I always say two things: is how a spirit will present itself to you, whether you're invoking them into a physical space, or you're working with them in the astral meditation, or in your mind and channeling, mediumship, and all that. Is a lot of it is they're going to play upon your visual frame of reference and your lived experiences. Sometimes there are some pop cultural overlaps in there, and I had that like when I first started working with Lucifer. I would just get these like almost like intrusive thoughts, but with like the pop cultural overlay. And there was this one time, and it's like, and I knew it, and it's like I just was not admitting the thing I wanted, like in full. I'm like, no, I want this thing. But it went further. It was like I had to admit something to myself that I didn't want to admit to myself. That was, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like I was just holding out. Like I wasn't admitting it. And I finally kind of got to that point. But in the story there, Lucifer was starting to get frustrated, and did the Lucifer TV series. So tell me what it is you truly desire. Which was funny, but it also kind of made me let go of that thing I was holding on to, not admitting to myself. So, be prepared to experience things like that. Or, there's times where, I've pissed off the spirits, or I'm not learning the thing. And then when you have that moment when you're like, holy crap, I get the thing now, it's really quite something. So that's sort of my apparently top 10 list of things about how demonolators work with the demonic divide and what it means to worship demons. It's a working partnership. It's not, oh, we're not worthy, I am a puny human. I would never approach the spirit world that way. It's a lot of it's about balancing and leveling out and meeting in the middle sometimes. It's like I just I kind of get tired. I like, honestly, like I get a little like as to how many people look down your I'm apprehensive sometimes to talk about, because people do look down their nose at you when you work with demons, or they think you're like some kind of like evil psychopath. And I'm like, hi, sorry to disappoint. I'm not. I mean, I'm a fuck around and find out kind of gal, but I'm not evil, or nor psychotic. Mostly I kind of just want the world to be a better place, because just as around the world, it's kind of crappy. It's gotten progressively crappier, and I think it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap up here, but thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on social media. Sign up for an e-newsletter. We have support tiers on our YouTube memberships and on Patreon. And if you want to support us with a one-time donation, all the links to everything are below. We love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.